Hello everyone. Welcome to the lecture series on health management. We discussed that management methods and techniques are broadly classified into 5 categories: statistical techniques, activity analysis, mathematical techniques, financial techniques, and others or miscellaneous techniques. Mathematical techniques include techniques like simulation study or models, systems analysis, linear programming, inventory control methods, precedence and arrow diagramming, and network analysis. In this session, we will discuss the network analysis. Network analysis is one of the important tools for project management. Whether major or minor a project has to be completed in a definite time and at a definite cost. The necessary information of any particular data can be represented as a project network. These techniques are very useful for planning, scheduling and executing large time-bound projects involving careful coordination of a variety of complex and interrelated activities. Critical path method or CPM and program evaluation and review techniques or PERT are 2 well-known network analysis techniques especially useful for planning, scheduling and executing large time-bound projects which involve careful coordination of a variety of complex and interrelated activities and resources. Both techniques were developed in the USA during the late 1950s. PERT was developed by U.S. Navy engineers to plan and control the huge Polaris submarine program. CPM was developed by E.I. DuPont Nemours and Company, USA, and the UNIVAC division of Remington Rand Corporation in 1956 in connection with the periodic overhauling and maintenance of chemical plants. It resulted in reducing the shutdown period from 130 hours to 90 hours and saving the companies $1 million. Let us understand a few terminologies before going into details of CPM and PERT. Project. A project is a set of a large number of activities that are performed in a certain determined sequence. Network. A network is a graphical representation of a project, depicting the flow and the sequence of well-defined activities and events. Or we can say that a network is the graphical representation of logically and sequentially connected arrows and nodes representing activities and events of a project. Activity. Activity is also known as task and job. It is any portion of a project which consumes resources, means time or money, and has a definable beginning and end. An activity is usually represented by an arrow in the network diagram. The tail of the arrow represents the start of an activity and the head of the arrow shows the completion of the activity. There are different types of activities. Let us understand it with this example of network diagram. Predecessor activity. Activities that must be completed immediately before the start of another activity are called predecessor activities. Here, activity A is a predecessor activity for activity B and activity D. Successor activity. Activities that cannot be started until one or more of the other activities are completed but immediately succeed them are called successor activities. Here, activity B and activity D are successor activities for activity A, start activity. It is the one which does not have any preceding activity. Activity A is the start activity. Finish or terminal activity. It is the one which does not have any succeeding activity. Activity H is the finish or terminal activity. Concurrent activities, activities that can be accomplished together are known as concurrent activities. Activity B and activity D are concurrent activities. Dummy activity, an activity which does not consume any resource but merely depicts the dependence of one activity on another is called a dummy activity. It is introduced in a network when 2 or more parallel activities have the same start and finish nodes. It is represented by the dashed line. Activity between nodes 3 and 5 is a dummy activity. Dangling activity, an activity, other than the terminal activity that does not have a succeeding activity is termed a dangling activity. It is connected to the last node through a dummy activity. Activity G is a dangling activity. Event. Event is also known as node and connector. Events in the network diagram represent project milestones. It represents a point in time satisfying the completion of some activities and the beginning of new ones. It is usually represented by circles in the network diagram. Events are numbered in a sequence in the network diagram. Similar to activities, there are different terms for events. Initial event. Event number 1 represents the start of the project and is called the initial event. Terminal event. The event carrying the highest number in the network denotes the completion of the project and is called the terminal event. These rules in drawing the network diagram are called Fulkerson's rule. Event number 8 represents the terminal event. Predecessor event. It is an event that precedes some other event. It can be single or multiple. Event 2 is a predecessor event for event 3. Successor events. It is an event that immediately follows some other events. It can have single or multiple successor events. Event 4 is a successor event for event 3. Merge events. When more than one activity comes and joins an event. Such event is known as merge events. Event 6 is a merge event for activity E and activity F. Burst event. When more than one activity leaves an event, such event is known as the burst event. Event 2 is a burst event for activity B and activity D. Merge and burst event. When more than one activity comes and joins an event, and at the same time more than one activity leaves an event, it is called a merge and burst event. Event 6 is a merge event for activity E and activity F, and is the burst event for activity G and activity H. So, it is a merge and burst event.